Hi everyone! So today we're talking about Enneagram 8. I'm basically continuing the series that I started last year with respect to the 9 Enneagram types. This series is basically aiming to explore the 9 Enneagram types with respect to their general characteristics, descriptions, integration, disintegration, and other relevant aspects that relate to the general description of this type. So today we're going to talk about Enneagram 8, also known as the Challenger. So all about that in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So Enneagram 8 is also known as the Challenger, and this type is part of the instinctual triad or the gut triad, together with Enneagram types 9 and 1. 1 I have talked about already, 9 is the one that is coming up next. So what is specific to this triad or to this group or to this intelligence center is that all types that come from this group are focused on creating autonomy for themselves, more so than the other Enneagram types. So the main motivation for this group entirely is to create autonomy, independence, and to suppress rage or anger. This is the emotion that is specific to this particular group. We have shame for the feeling triad and we have anxiety for the thinking triad. And here in this group we have rage or anger. Now, this is the general characteristic of the entire group. If we go to each Enneagram type in particular, 8, 9, and 1, they all have a specific strategy to be able to do this, to create autonomy for themselves and to get away from rage or anger. So for Enneagram 8, the strategy is staying in control of the outside world. A lot of people associate Enneagram 8 with people who are very aggressive or controlling or domineering, but this is not necessarily the case. Of course, some Enneagram 8s can be quite controlling or domineering or aggressive, but it doesn't mean that if someone has these behaviors, then they're definitely an Enneagram 8, because other types can also be aggressive or controlling. And also it doesn't mean that if someone is an Enneagram 8, then for sure they have these traits, because there's a big spectrum here that we need to look at and understand. So this is a misconception that I kind of wanted to bring across and clarify before I go deeper with the type. Now, for Enneagram 8, as I was saying earlier, the main motivation is being in control of the outside world. Taking charge or taking control of situations, people, experiences, whatever, in order to feel like they are the ones who can, have a say in how things are being done, in what is happening, and, what the decisions are. They want to feel like they can have the ability to call the shots. But that doesn't mean that they will always be aggressive or controlling. Some Enneagram 8 individuals are actually quite good at, being in charge or being in control in a way that is not aggressive, that is not rude or domineering. It depends a lot on the person and how, developed they are as an individual, how mature they are as well. And on other factors, for example, cultural aspects can come into play quite a lot, or the MBTI type that the 8 is paired with can also have a significant impact on this. Anyway, if we look at the core fear of Enneagram 8, we will notice an individual that deep down is very afraid of being hurt, of people getting to them in a way that hurts them and consequently takes control of them. So they try to be the ones who are making decisions, who are calling the shots, who are in control, because in this way they feel like it's easier for them to protect themselves from the possibility of other people harming them, other people hurting them, other people doing something nasty to them. That's why a lot of the times we also notice a great degree of being able to stay protective of the self or protective of other people. A lot of the times Enneagram 8 can be very good at protecting people that they care about a lot, similarly to how they protect themselves from being hurt, from being harmed, for being betrayed, etc., etc. When it comes to the other triads or the other groups that Enneagram 8 is part of, first of all, we have the assertive group. So together with types 3 and 7, 8 is an assertive type. This means that this type has a tendency to move against other people in order to get what they want. A lot of the times there's this misconception that assertive types are conflictual people, that they like fighting and being in conflicts with others, but that's not necessarily true. It's just that assertive types are more likely to, take a step forward, make space for themselves, and start talking, start expressing their thoughts, start asking challenging questions, start opening conversations that might be uncomfortable but are important to have. And yes, on one end of the spectrum, this can become aggressive and domineering and controlling, but on the other side of the spectrum, it can actually be a very healthy attitude when these types are supporting the conversation in such a way that conflicts can be solved and issues can be solved. And I would say that probably out of all of the assertive types, 8 is probably the most obvious or obviously good in terms of making space for themselves, taking that step forward and making sure that they get heard, making sure that other people know exactly what the issue is. They can be very direct in that sense in their communication. And if they use this for the better, it can be exceptionally good in terms of solving problems, solving conflicts, and so on and so forth. And of course, if they get to the other side, they can be a little bit aggressive or domineering in that respect. Okay, and then the other triad or group that Enneagram 8 is part of refers to how this type deals with emotions, and this is the reactive group. So together with types 4 and 6, Enneagram 8 is also interested in showing strong emotional reactions to things. So when something good happens, they want to show strong positive emotions and they expect the same from other people. And then when something bad happens or when they, have some sort of experience that they don't like, they want to make sure that they experience the negative feelings. And they have a tendency to kind of expect other people to also, get upset about it, get worked up about it. This is something they share, like I said, with types 4 and 6, who also have a tendency to expect other people to show these strong emotional reactions to things. Okay, and now in terms of integration and disintegration. In times of stress, in times of, going through a challenging time or not, working enough on their core fears, Enneagram 8 can look like an unhealthy Enneagram 5. It can take over some of the unhealthy or negative characteristics of this type. For example, the typical extroverted direct 8 will have a tendency to withdraw and not want to communicate with other people anymore, not want to share their thoughts. And they can become excessively private, excessively reserved, excessively protective of their own knowledge, hoping that they will be able to use this knowledge or this information that they have to kind of, be in control in the future of that conflict or that relationship. And they can become uncharacteristically secluded or like reserved in that sense. On the other side of the spectrum, when Enneagram 8 develops, or in times of health and integration, it starts looking like a healthy version of Enneagram 2, the helper or the giver. So this kind of links back to something I said at the beginning of this video, which is that Enneagram 8 can actually be very good at showing helpful behaviors, protective behaviors of other people. So they can become highly generous, they can become highly attentive and focused when it comes to the needs of other people. And they can be quite good at prioritizing the needs of other people in a way that is helpful, encouraging, generous, warm, giving, loving, etc., etc. And during these times, I've seen a lot of 8s say things like, I feel like, I really want to give back. I really want to contribute. I really want to support other people. And this is something that they can develop when integrating towards Enneagram 2 and taking over the more positive characteristics of this type. Okay, so these are my thoughts on the general characteristics: integration, disintegration, fears, motivations, and triads with respect to Enneagram 8. Do you have any other thoughts that you would like to share with respect to this type? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being with me, and see you next time with a video on Enneagram 9.